Hey, what's going on, everyone? How are you guys doing tonight? How are you doing? It is Wednesday, January 20th, 2021, and today we are here for another AEW Dynamite post show. How you guys feeling? How did you guys enjoy the show tonight? Was it good? Was it terrible? Let me know what you guys thought about it in the chat here. Thank you, Corbin. I really appreciate that, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Marcel, Pride and Powerful are about to split from the inner circle. That's why they lost. I could definitely see that happening. Lumbee says, what was the better show tonight? For me, I mostly watched Dynamite. I say that every single week. I mostly watch Dynamite, but I do have NXT on as well. Welcome back, my friend. Good to see you, Raphael. Raphael says, I'm so hyped for that 6-man tag match at Beach Break. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. That is for sure. Ryan, how you doing, my friend? Peter Avalon will be the next AEW World Champion. Safa, how you doing? Dasher says, I'm glad I can catch this once in a while, even though it's so ungodly hours at 4 a.m. in the morning. Whew. Good Lord, my friend. Good Lord. Wednesday, or as I call it, the ultimate palate cleanser. Yes, that's perfect. Jude says AEW was fine. Yeah, I thought today was it was okay. I thought it was good. They didn't do anything crazy tonight, but I thought it was pretty good overall. I saw it first says, what's good? One of the best podcasts out there. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in. Flash, it's Wednesday. You know what that means. 100%. 100%. Welcome back, Flash. Nova. Nova says, not gonna lie, today's shows were meh. People were more focused on other stuff this week. Yeah, I'm really not expecting these shows to have done very well tonight. I said that last week as well. Today was the presidential inauguration day, so I'm assuming that We're actually not even going to get the ratings for tonight until Friday, I believe. So I'm assuming it's going to be dominated by news as well. I'm assuming. We'll see though. How's it going, Jay? Good to see you, my friend. Corbin says Uncle Allen in NXT would be interesting. It would be amazing. It would be so amazing. I love AEW, but for me, tonight's show was meh. I preferred NXT. Yeah, NXT seemed to have a lot of solid wrestling on the show. Not very much else other than that. Dynamite had a lot of stuff going on, but nothing too crazy. I think if I had to guess, they probably know that they're going to have a very low viewership, so they probably didn't go out of their way. Les says it's sad that it's an okay Dynamite is better than a good Raw. Yeah, by far. Chloe says I'm not going to be able to watch this post show, so good luck AEW and keep up the good work. Thank you, Chloe, for tuning in. I did see your message on Instagram, so I'll get you that stuff tonight as well that you were asking for. Warrior Nation says Don Callis looking more shredded than Omega, and the painting is too funny. Yeah, that painting, man. What in the world? What in the world? Jaden, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Good to see you. Deshaun says, why would AEW make Chris and MJF a tag team of the Inner Circle when they already have a tag team? I think it's because Santana and Ortiz are leaving. Not AEW, but the Inner Circle. I think that they're gonna part ways from them, or maybe not necessarily right now, but I think that it'll lead to that. Maybe we'll see Sammy. Maybe we'll see all of them leave. Sammy, Hager, and Santana and Ortiz could all leave. Who knows though? Raphael says Goldberg. Yes. Rated C says sub AOW. They really had MJF and Jericho win, but Santana and Ortiz are an actual tag team. Good match though. Yeah, I figured that MJF and Jericho would win. I figured that they would. It really should have been Santana and Ortiz. And if it wasn't going to be them, I would have liked to have seen Jake Hager and Wardlow have been a team in that match instead. But I don't know. I guess it is what it is. It's probably also some sort of storyline for the Inner Circle. So I can't be mad at that. I'll see what happens. Also, one of the things to take into consideration is that there's only one tag team championship team. You know, there's only one team can be tag champions, so they do need something for all of these other people to do. Maybe this here is to sort of split up the Inner Circle and have Santana and Ortiz actually do something in a story other than just fighting for titles. Deshaun says, should we start a gold counter? I don't think so. We shouldn't really have very many. Raphael says, did you hear about what Chad Gable said? Yes. Chad Gable said that he believes that Jason Jordan might be trying to make a return to the ring, which is incredible. I hope he does. Jason Jordan was fantastic, and he's got a lot left in him. So hopefully he's able to do that at some point. I would be very happy for that. I would love to see it. Did you see KZ Catanzaro's new finisher? Yes, it was crazy looking. Crazy looking. Santana, Ortiz, and Sammy for trios. I had Death Triangle for the trios personally. So Pac, Penta, and Rey Fenix. That's who I put the trios on first, if you ask me. Raphael says, I really want American Alpha to get back together. That would be awesome. Man, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. Miguel says, NXT was great tonight. Happy for Timmy. Glad you enjoyed the show, man. Glad you enjoyed it. I hope Casey and Caden win as an underdog team. Yeah, I was not expecting them to win that match, to be honest with you. Miguel says, also Lucha House Party are staying around. Yeah, I think they're definitely a better fit in NXT. But also, with that being said, the main roster just lost another tag team then. Another tag team that they're already lacking. Marcel says, Omega was all over the show tonight like Roman. Yeah, he really was. He was spaced throughout the show. I mean, at least topics about him were spread throughout the show. His attire was very interesting, to say the least. Tonight, Jesus. Obi James says, who do you think will win the Women's Dusty Classic? Oh man, I don't know. I was kind of thinking that Candice and Indy would win it. Candice and Indy or Dakota and Raquel, I could definitely see winning it. Those are probably my finalist choices. Whoever wins, I don't know though. The fight pit was brutal. I love the fight pits, man. I love them. I really wanted that tournament to be for the men rather than the women. I got so excited when I saw it because I thought of New Japan. Man, they are teasing the hell out of us with this New Japan stuff. They really are. I think it might be set in stone at this point, and it's just waiting to happen, I think. Finn versus Pete versus Kyle at the next takeover. Did they book that? Or are you just dreaming of that? I would like to see just Finn and Pete personally. I think that would be incredible. Leroy says, patiently waiting for Jordan Devlin to return to NXT and face Santos Escobar for the Cruiserweight Championship. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Very interesting. I wonder how much longer it's going to be, or how much longer he's going to be stuck over there for. No, just dreaming. Okay, yeah, I would love to see Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne. I think that's probably the next match we're going to get, and that's going to be a good one. Good one. Flash says, do you think Walter will be in NXT soon? Probably not. You know what would be interesting, though, is that before all of this pandemic stuff happened, Finn Balor was supposed to go over there and feud with Walter. So who's to say that maybe they're buying some time here, Finn will have his run, and then he'll obviously probably be dethroned by Karrion Kross once again, and then maybe Finn will head to NXT UK for a feud with Walter over the UK Championship, NXT UK Championship. I'd watch that. I'd watch that for sure. I hear great things about NXT UK as well. It's just I can't bring myself to watch all that wrestling, and especially like during the time that it is. So Safa says Alexander Wolf returned tonight, and they made a big deal that he was in the UK. Yeah, so maybe they're planting the seeds now. Worlds collide again. It'll be Walter versus Finn. Maybe. Very well possible. Finn Balor needs to do something after he drops the NXT Championship. So I don't know. I don't know what that is, but Walter seems like a pretty good choice. Also heading back up to Raw. It would be Raw this time. Heading up to Raw and teaming up with Uncle Allen would be a pretty good one as well. What did you think of the Lucha House Party match? I didn't actually watch it, but cool for them winning, man. They're extremely talented, and I think that they should have been used properly. I think they probably will in NXT, so good for them being in the Dusty Classic. Good for them. Very good for them. All right, so I don't have any notes for tonight's show written down, so I'm just going based off of my Instagram, so it might be a little rough here. Let's do a rundown of the show from start to finish here, and then we'll get started. If you're here and you're not subscribed yet, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 1,000. So close, like 47 away, 50 away, something along those lines. Also make sure to hit that like button as well. It helps me out. So let's go ahead and get into this show here really quick. This show started off with -1's birthday celebration with the Dark Order. This led into the opening match for tonight, which was an 8-man tag team match with the Dark Order teaming up with Hangman Adam Page taking on Chaos Project and the Hybrid 2. After this, we got an answer as to whether or not Hangman Adam Page would be joining the Dark Order or not. Next up, we saw Sting return to the ring and congratulate Darby Allin on his TNT Championship. We also saw this spoiled by Team Taz, which came to no surprise. Next up, we had an elite meeting at Kenny Omega's house that did not turn out as planned and gave us one of the most interesting things I have seen in my entire life. Next up, we saw Wish.com's Val Venus Peter Avalon taking on Cody Rhodes. Next up, we saw a backstage segment here with FTR and Jurassic Express, where Jungle Boy wants to take on Dax Harwood next week. Next up, we saw Jon Moxley return to the ring, taking on a man by the name of Nick Camarado making his AEW debut tonight. Next up, we saw Kenny Omega in a backstage segment here with Don Callis, talking about something that happened to him earlier in the show. After that, we saw Hardy Party reunite once again to take on Matt Sydal and Top Flight in a 6-man tag team match. Next, we saw Penelope Ford take on Layla Hirsch. This match was supposed to originally be Layla Hirsch and Nyla Rose, I believe, but I believe that Nyla came in contact with someone with COVID, or she has COVID or something, so she is currently quarantining, so they changed it over to Penelope Ford. AEW teased quite a few things here for next week. Cody responds to Shaq, apparently. Why this is a thing, I don't know. Also, soon coming to AEW Dynamite will be an AEW Women's World Championship Eliminator tournament to crown the #1 contender for Hikaru Shida's AEW Women's World Championship. Should be very interesting here. Next up was our main event that saw everyone from the Inner Circle pretty much tag up and face each other to find out who would be the Inner Circle's official tag team. It was MJF and Chris Jericho versus Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager versus Santana and Ortiz. That was tonight's show in its entirety. Ran down. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. Yes, happy birthday to -1. That was it. That was a very fun opening segment, I thought. I thought it was a good one. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD for the win. Yes. I didn't actually have a moment to post that picture, but in 2 weeks is AEW Dynamite's Beach Break, where they announced a couple matches. Oh God, I don't know if I know where those files are on my computer. Videos, Raw. Aha, I found them. Okay. So the matches that they announced for Beach Break are Dr. Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. And then there is also going to be a tag team battle royal, and the winners will become the #1 contenders and will get a tag team championship match against the Young Bucks at Revolution, which should be a good one as well. Very exciting. I'm not sure who should be in that and who should win that. What's good? How's it going, Hoodie? How are you doing, my friend? How are you? Cody seems so directionless right now. Yes, I would agree. And man, I was going to wait until we got to that segment to talk about it, but I hate this remixed version of his song. The Snoop Dogg version is terrible. Absolutely terrible. I'm good, my friend. I'm good. It's Wednesday. Cannot complain on a Wednesday, man. Love Wednesdays. It is all good here. Raphael says Peter Avalon is the dollar store 2-for-1 value pack version of Val Venus and Rick Rude. He is. You know, I was originally going to have that be the topic image for the show, but I couldn't. I had to use this oil painting of Kenny Omega and Don Callis because it is just so ridiculous and it's hilarious. Marcel says Hangman going into the heel tunnel, cry face. Very interesting, man. It's very interesting. Latrell says, it's Wednesday, my dude. Yes. The best day of the week, if you ask me. Cody's theme will hopefully be temporary. I'm not too crazy about it. It's OB James. I hope so too, man. I hope so too, because I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. I wish if they were going to go that route, I wish they would have just changed it completely. But man, Kingdom, that song is perfect. It's perfect. It's even like an amazing song to just listen to as a song. So very, very sad to see that one go. Hopefully it is just temporary though. King G says, would you like to see Omega versus Rich Swann AEW Championship for Impact Championship? Yeah, I think it's very possible. If you ask me though, I think the match is going to be Kenny Omega versus Moose for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. If I was Booker, man, that's probably the route that I would go. Someone also brought it up to me the other day that Kenny Omega could challenge Rich Swann, and Kenny could be the one to beat Rich Swann, and then Moose could be the one to end up beating Kenny Omega to kind of put him over. So I could certainly see that happening as well. That's a pretty good route, if you ask me. Hopefully Kushida is going to win the North American Championship and the entire world will rejoice. Yeah, I think he should have been in that scene quite a while ago. Kushida, I don't even think he should be in this Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I don't think he needs to be paired up with Leon Ruff. He should be doing North American Championship stuff. He really should. Makes a lot more sense to me. He's been whooping ass and winning matches and all of that good stuff. So let's start off here by talking about the opening segments here. Oh, I closed all my stuff down on accident. Opening segment was great. It was the birthday celebration for -1. They had a big AEW table set up on the stage with a happy birthday cake for Brody Jr. there in the middle. Now, this was, it was funny because I didn't notice, but -1 is sitting on the shoulders of 10, and he's actually wearing his father's jacket, which I thought was really cool. Really cool. That was a cool little addition there. So this was a fun little celebration here. And then, of course, Chaos Project, which is Luther and Serpentico, came out as the heels that they are. And they were talking crap to little -1, little Brody, and said that he was going to ruin his birthday. And boy, they tried to. They really tried to. This led into the first match of the night, which was an 8-man tag match. And I say this all of the time. They really got to stop. They really got to stop with the crazy multi-man matches. They do 6-man and plus all of the time. All of the time. So I would really like to see them just at least just focus on the normal tags, trios if you need to, since they're going to be bringing in the championships. I don't mind that, but the 8-man is too much, man. The 8-man is way too much. They really did not need that. This match was Hangman teaming up with the Dark Order, taking on Chaos Project and the Hybrid 2. This match, in typical AEW fashion, started out as a brawl here, and Hangman came running out of the babyface tunnel, did a huge dive on top of all of them. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was really cool. Good way to start off the show here. Was very exciting. This match, of course, like most multi-man matches, was chaotic here. Luther ended up bringing someone up to the top. I'm not sure who it was. It looks like it could be Colt. And he was going to try and put Colt through the table with the birthday cake on it. But -1 ran up, hit him with a kendo stick. And then Colt was able to shove Luther's face into the cake. So that was a good moment there. It was awesome. It's always so cool to see -1, little Brody Jr., being able to enjoy his life after his father's passing. And it's nice that they go above and beyond to take care of that family and make sure that they're doing good. He apparently loves to do all of this stuff. He loves to be a part of the shows. He loves to sit there until dark is over at like 2:00 in the morning and hanging out with all the wrestlers and doing all that stuff with them. So it's very cool that they're allowing him to do this, especially on national television as well. So I really, really liked that. And even afterwards was the best part, where he said, what did he say? "My birthday was 3 days ago, you idiots." He wadded up some paper and he threw him in the face of Serpentico, just like his father did to Evil Uno and everyone else on Being the Elite. So that was my favorite part of the show. I thought that was fantastic. And then he held up the claw as well. Flash says Luther's asymmetric head. Yeah, he's beautiful, right? Alex says, hey man, sorry I'm late. No worries, my friend. Good to see you here. Good to see you. We are just started talking about tonight's show here. Marcel says, what's advertised for SmackDown? I have no clue, man. I have no clue. Couldn't tell you. I'm sure they'll start releasing things probably tomorrow. They're usually pretty good about announcing SmackDown stuff ahead. Obi James says, it's amazing how much AEW has done for the Huber family after Brody's passing. Gotta love it. Yeah, it's very sad. And actually, I believe my fiance told me that Tony Khan confirmed that Brody passed away the day after Christmas, which is devastating, man. Devastating. That's very, very, very sad to hear. So glad to see that the family is holding up, though, and that they're being taken care of by everyone, and how loved they were. So you love to see that. So this is the IC Championship match and the obstacle course. Oh, yeah. How could I forget about the obstacle course? But still, am I the only one that wants to see JTG in AEW? I mean, I think he'd be fine there if, you know, but they're full at the moment, man. They're so full. They don't have, I mean, that's why they're doing these huge, crazy matches, because they're just so full. And they're trying to get people on TV, but they haven't. I mean, and I guess it's probably hard to say because most people probably haven't perfected this, but having that many people, it's just too chaotic. It's too much. I really don't like it. I really don't. Ishmael says this was not the best episode from AEW Dynamite. No, definitely not the best. I think it was kind of a filler episode to hold everyone over. Like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, I think tonight's TV is going to be dominated by news stations, and I think that they knew that, so they probably just kind of rolled through here with a mediocre show just to get by. They did have some big segments here, though. So after this whole -1 birthday celebration thing, they had John Silver get down on one knee and ask Hangman Adam Page if he was going to be joining the Dark Order. He said no. He said no, and when he said no, they put up these banners on the Titantron screen here that said he said yes. They had music playing. They had these cowboy guys coming out and everything, and they had to like shush them away. And I believe they had confetti as well coming out. So very funny that they all expected him to say that he would say yes and join the Dark Order, but he unfortunately turned them down, saying that he's been in a group before and that they tried to pressure him too much to be in the group, and the last time he was in a group, it didn't really work out for him. They were all upset, and Stu Grayson was holding up a bottle of alcohol. Adam Page went over there, snatched it out of his hands, and left out through the heel tunnel. Came out through the babyface tunnel, said no to the Dark Order, left through the heel tunnel. So very interesting to see what is going to happen here. Is Hangman going to feud with the Dark Order now? Or is this just all over? Hangman went out the heel tunnel, so I think it's pretty safe to say that he's going to be a heel going forward. What does that mean? Does he join in on the Bullet Club fight? Does he team up with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers? Maybe does he side with the Bucks? And then eventually we'll have some sort of Kenny and the Good Brothers versus Page and the Bucks. Could very well happen. We do know one thing. Kenny Omega is currently the AEW World Champion. And guess who that next one is? Hangman Adam Page. Maybe that's where the feud starts. Maybe that is where the feud starts. Marcel says next week the Good Brothers and Omega are facing the Dark Order. Oh my. Interesting. Very interesting. Wait, I saw something earlier, but this is for next week. So for next week, it's the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers taking on the Dark Order. Good Brothers and Young Bucks. So it's another 8-man tag match, which is too much, man. Too much. That's too many people. Too many people. King G says Redbeard and the Spider can run the Dark Order. Look, I wouldn't mind seeing Eric Redbeard fill in, not necessarily fill in, but be the leader of the Dark Order. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. I think he would be the perfect replacement, if you ask me. And I don't mean to use the word replacement, because I don't think that he should come in and replace Brody, but what I think he should do is come in and finish what Brody started. I think if I were Booker, man, that's where I would go with it. I would have him come in and just fulfill what Brody's intentions were with the Dark Order. I think that would be the story. I think it would be good. Plus, it would be great for Eric Redbeard for his fallen friend, kind of go and finish what he started. I think it would be great. What about the Spider? The Spider's dead, man. Spider is dead. Spider is dead. Obi James says, I didn't notice that the heel and the face have their own tunnels until you mentioned it. Yeah, so the tunnel on the right is the babyface tunnel. That's where all the faces come out of. The heel tunnel is on the left side, so all of the heels come out of that one. Safa says they got to calm down on an 8-man tag teams and huge brawls. Yeah, it's really their go-to. It really is. Like, that is, I mean, I'm glad that they didn't close the show tonight with a brawl, but they pretty much started off their show tonight with a brawl. So they're just kind of opposite fashion here. AEW's go-to is a brawl. Why? I have no idea, but I think they could really tone it down with the brawls. I think the first 4 or 5 episodes of Dynamite in general were brawls, like huge brawls. So yeah, they really need to tone that down. Alex says, but Hardy Party always comes out through the right tunnel. Yes, Hardy Party have been baby faces though. They've been baby faces this whole time. John Silver is just too funny, but I haven't seen much of his ring work. Man, him and John Silver and Alex Reynolds are a fantastic tag team. Man, their chemistry is great. Some of the stuff that they do is just incredible. I really, really like it. Very impressed with them. I think both of them actually have a very bright future in the company. And it's just funny to think that they were brought in just to be the jobbers. They were brought in to be enhancement talent. And look at where they are now. Look at where they are now. It's crazy. Raphael says, I'd rather have brawls than surprise roll-ups and distractions, but yeah, they need to tone them down. Yeah, the brawls, they're not the end of the world for me. They don't make me want to tune out or anything, but it's just like, man, another brawl? Like, really? At least they're after matches or before matches. They're not happening during them or anything causing disqualifications. I'm still glad that almost all of their matches have legit finishes. So I can't complain about that. King G says, wrestling sees a feud. Let's have an 8-man tag match. Pretty much. That's Tony Khan's go-to. Miguel says, brawls actually are what got me to change the channel. Interesting. Warrior Nation says, Hardy Party come out of the babyface tunnel because Private Party were babyfaces while only Matt was heelish. Correct. Yes. Rocco says, I don't mind it ending in a brawl. Like, I love the way the 8-man tag match was to kick off the show. I think that I don't mind brawls. And I think I say this, God, I feel like I say this probably every show, but everything has a time and a place. There's always a time and a place for everything and everything. And if you continue to do things over and over and over again, they just get redundant and they lose their effect. So watching a brawl in AEW is meh. You know, we see them so much that they're not special. It's like in WWE for a while, they were doing the whole group up thing. And then it was like Roman Reigns jumping over the top rope onto 10 people. Like, just having these things go over and over and over, they don't feel special. There was a time where during the pandemic era, when it first started, that they were doing those 2 out of 3 falls matches. They did so many of them, just over and over and over. And so I just don't want to see AEW fall into that thing where they're doing brawls every single episode. They're doing 8-man tag matches every single episode. Like, tone it down. Calm down. It's okay. It's okay. You do not need to have a brawl on the show. It's okay. You don't need an 8-man tag team match on the show. It's okay. I promise. I promise you do not. I'm about to start training to be a pro wrestling. Maybe one day you'll be talking about me on here. I would be honored. Hey, man. That'd be great. I wish you the best of the luck in your wrestling journey, man. That's awesome. That is awesome. Miguel says Monday Night Raw is the worst wrestling show of all time right now. Literally 2000 WCW. Yeah, man, it's gotten to the point for me where it's like it's almost unwatchable. It really is. Like, for me, I'm a creature of habit. So for me to cover Monday Night Raw, it's just what I do. I don't want to, but it's just what I do. I've considered doing other things, but I don't know. I've considered, instead of covering actual Raw, I felt like we could have picked a time in wrestling and start covering those episodes of Raw instead. Going back to whatever people want, some golden era, some attitude era, some ruthless aggression eras of Raw or something like that. Pick a time and then just watch through them like that. I've considered doing stuff like that for Raw and SmackDown, to be honest. But I don't know. I don't know. I've also considered not watching NXT on Wednesdays. I'm not sure if I'll do it. It's just an idea at the moment. I haven't thought about it too much, but I have considered only watching and only covering Dynamite on Wednesday. If I were to do such a thing, the plan would sort of change a little bit to where I would watch and cover NXT on Thursday at the time that it would normally be on. So for me, on the West Coast in America, it would be from 5 to 7. So my plan would be to cover the show from 5 to 7, and then afterwards have a post show as well on Thursday. That way we would have Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for post shows. But I haven't decided yet because I like, more than anything, I really like to stay in the loop. And I'm not quite sure if anyone would really care so much. The annoying thing is that people seem to just want to bitch about all of this Wednesday Night War stuff. And everyone always cries that NXT doesn't get enough coverage, or you didn't post this for NXT. And it's like, okay, relax. Okay. I'm watching two shows at the same time. I'm taking screenshots of shows and posting them. So it's very hard to do both at the same time. So I've considered doing something like that. I'm not quite sure if I will or not. Maybe I'll try it for a week or two and see how it turns out. Also at this point, I think I might start covering Impact on a regular basis as well. So there might be Tuesday coverage and then a Tuesday post show for Impact as well. So if this were the case, the new schedule would be actually pretty crazy. We'd have Monday Night Raw. This would be for me and my post show. So we'd have Raw on Monday with the Raw post show. We'd have Impact on Tuesday with an Impact post show afterwards. We'd have Dynamite on Wednesday with a Dynamite post show afterwards. On Thursday, there would be NXT coverage and then an NXT post show. And then Friday would be SmackDown coverage with a SmackDown post show afterwards. Then on Saturday would be any sort of Impact pay-per-view, any sort of Dynamite pay-per-view, or NXT pay-per-view as well. And then Sundays would be any sort of WWE pay-per-views. If there's not a WWE pay-per-view, Saturday and Sunday would probably just be rest days, or Sunday would be a Q&A show. So I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. Just thinking out loud about that, but I feel like it would kind of balance the week a little bit more, and then I could actually sit here and watch Dynamite in its entirety, and I could watch NXT in its entirety instead of missing parts of NXT and parts of Dynamite, because I miss both of them as well. So I prefer to watch Dynamite, so I watch that more, but I still miss stuff. So that's kind of my idea, just thinking out loud here. Miguel says both shows are great. I don't know why people need to hate. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I typically prefer Dynamite more than NXT, but it doesn't mean that I don't enjoy NXT, because Dynamite and NXT are typically like my number one. They're like tied for number one for me, for the shows that I enjoy. So I don't know. I like both shows. Yeah, I like one more than the other, but I mean, that's just what a person does, right? Like, that's pretty standard. Pretty standard. King says, have you ever watched GTS wrestling on YouTube? No, I have not. I do not. Safa says, I know that you do an NXT post show separately. You would enjoy both shows more because you wouldn't have to flip through the channels. So what I do, since most people may not know this, is I have a pretty crazy computer setup. So I have 4 monitors here. Well, I actually have 3 monitors and a 50-inch TV here. Well, I have 3 24-inch monitors and a 50-inch TV. That is my computer setup. That's what I use daily. I use it for work and everything. So for Wednesday, my fiance and I watch wrestling in my office. I have Dynamite on the 50-inch TV, and then I have NXT on the a 24-inch monitor. I have Twitter opened up on another one, and then I have OBS open on another one so that I can take screenshots of the shows and post them on Twitter and Instagram and yada, yada, yada. So I have the sound on Dynamite. I don't have the sound on NXT. When AEW goes to commercial, the sound on NXT comes on. When AEW comes back from commercial, the sound for NXT goes off and the sound for AEW comes back on. So sometimes I miss things here and there. And that's why I'm kind of considering changing it up and just watching them on separate nights. So I don't know. We'll see. It's just a thought, but everyone gets so butthurt for some reason. And I'm sure they'll get even more butthurt because they'll be like, well, why are you watching this show first? Why don't you watch NXT first? And it's just like, shut up. Shut up. So we'll see. I don't know. Warrior says, it's weird that people care so much about bias. Like, you still cover both shows. Who cares which show gets more coverage? Well, and so the thing is, I was telling you that, I miss a lot of things for one shows, but NXT tonight mostly looked like just long ass matches. So, of course, if you have 5 20-minute matches or whatever, and then you have AEW, like the first 15 minutes of AEW was packed full of stuff. You had the birthday thing, you had the Chaos Project coming out, then you had the match, then you had the winner of the match, then you had -1 hitting them with sticks and telling them the stuff, then you had the decision from Hangman. That's 6 individual things that happened in the first 15 to 20 minutes of Dynamite versus NXT, where the first 20 minutes was just a match. So that's where the coverage goes crazy there. Marcel says, I posted the Undertaker quote on Reddit and it got a lot of attention and sparked countless debates. Yeah, I'm assuming people are probably mad about that. But I mean, it's true. It's true. Everyone knows it. Like, if people are still out here trying to defend Raw, SmackDown is pretty good for the most time. But it's beyond defendable at this point. Instead, there's nothing wrong with Raw being bad as long as they admit that Raw was bad and that it needs to be fixed. But to tell us that we're stupid and we don't know entertainment is where everything goes south. Everything goes south. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has down points. It's just about how you bounce back from them. And Raw and sometimes SmackDown are not bouncing back. They're just giving us the rundown, saying that we're stupid and we don't know what we want, when we do know what we want. King G says, is your computer setup better than that of the Hacker Man? 100%. 100%. Hacker Man does not have a Go XLR. He can't do this. He can't do that. Psh. He can't do that. He can't do this. Hello. Can't do none of that. Enigma says, let's be honest, AEW Impact isn't the crossover we want. AEW NXT crossover. I actually really like the AEW Impact crossover. For me, I think actually for most people, to be honest, why is YouTube giving me an error? If I'm being honest, Impact, the people that work at Impact are extremely talented. There's a lot of very, very talented people on the roster at Impact, and I don't think that they get enough love that they should. I know that, and I still don't watch their shows. So them getting the rub from NXT or from AEW is fantastic, I think. I think it's only going to help uplift them and they're actually going to gain a solid viewer base from it. Hell, I mean, I'm even considering tuning in every week and doing a post show on it now. So if a lot of people are doing that, that's a lot of extra eyes on your product. Flash says, AEW, what if you watch NXT on Saturday so your schedule can be a little bit lighter? I probably couldn't do Saturday because usually we go down to my fiance's parents' house on Saturdays, or they come over, so it would probably be a little bit more chaotic. I wouldn't mind. I think it would be fine just to knock it all out. Like I said, I'm not quite sure if that's something that I'm going to do yet or not. Things will probably just remain as they are for now. But I will definitely be adding Impact in to the mix. So I think what I'm going to do going forward as well, I'll probably have them on Mondays. Every Monday, I think I'm going to post a schedule so that everyone knows what's going on. So you can expect just so you know what days to expect shows and all of that stuff. NXT was the better show tonight. To each their own, man. NXT looked fantastic tonight. I can't tell because I like I said, it didn't have my full attention, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. And that's kind of part of the reason why I kind of want to split them up and just do it that way so that I can actually have an opinion. It's hard to have an opinion about something that you don't put your full attention to. And that goes for AEW and Impact as well. I think both of them kind of suffer in terms of like my content from that. Marcel says, I find NXT dull because it's just a bunch of matches mostly. Yeah, and I get that a lot. I know a lot of people say that the NXT is just not the same as it was. Sometimes good matches isn't necessarily good TV. You know, I think that, in my opinion, this kind of like the sports entertainment feel, I think, is what they need. Certainly, like there should be promos, there should be skits, there should be funny moments, there should be ridiculous things happening. I think that that's kind of the flow for it. So I don't know. We'll see. Obi James says Impact is underrated. Yeah, I think, but I mean, I would agree because I think that they have a very talented roster, but at the same time, I feel like their show is just missing something. It really is. It's just, I don't know if I'll ever be able to put my thumb on it, but it literally feels like it's missing something, and I just don't know what it is. Part of me feels like it's stars, having bigger stars on their show, but I don't know. Miguel says eating chili right now. Good times, man. I haven't had chili in a while. We usually make a really nice sausage chili. Maybe we'll have to make that next week. 2020 is the year for Impact. It very well could be. Remember back in 2018 when Seth Rollins called Raw out for being terrible? Crazy how times have changed. Now that man will die on the WWE sword. Don't give us 2020 again. Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Oh yeah. It's 2021. I didn't even notice. Also, is it bad that I think Private Party look like they should be a part of the Impact roster? I mean, I don't know if is that bad? Is that bad? I don't know. I think Private Party is very talented. I think they have a very bright future ahead of them. Marcel says Impact is very hokey. I can see that. And I'm not sure if I'll enjoy their product. So I'm not sure. I've given Impact a chance multiple times. I usually watch their bigger pay-per-views and I'm impressed with them. So I watch like 2 or 3 of their shows and then I just have to turn it off. So we'll see, I guess, how it goes. But yeah, I know they do a lot of weird stuff. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We will see how it goes. I think the only people who defend Raw are either casual fans that don't know better, people who have only watched Raw so they haven't seen other, or WWE fanboys. Yeah, I mean, I would say that. And honestly, it seems like most of the people who defend the show are people that don't watch it in the first place. There's countless times where people have like tried to pick fights with me and then they're like, well, I don't even watch the show. Lols. And it's like, then what are you talking about? If you don't watch the show, like, come on. Safa says, in my opinion, since moving to TV, NXT has gotten better. I just couldn't get into the 1 hour show on the network. That's interesting. I feel like most people feel the opposite of the way that you do. Me personally, I loved the 1 hour episode of NXT on the network. I much preferred that. When I saw Raw, 1.8 million for Raw, it felt so bad I watched by that many people. Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. That's the average. They were, I think they peaked at 1.91 million, I think. Rocco says, Dynamite tonight was more of a good show tonight where they built up storylines. Very good, and the wrestling was all right. Nothing but a big, good transition episode. Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd agree with that. There's lots of developing stories in AEW, and they're teasing a lot of other ones as well. Flash says, the issues with Impact is that some storylines are ridiculous, but other stories and the matches are usually good. Yeah, usually the match quality of Impact is pretty good. I've been pretty impressed with the matches, but sometimes, man, the hokey stuff is crazy. I tried giving Impact another chance a few years back. I saw Bound for Glory and Austin Aries no selling Starship Pain. Turned me out. I think that's the night he left too, wasn't it? I think that's the very night that Austin Aries dropped the title and left the company. It hasn't been seen since. Roderick Strong, yeah, Roderick Strong is fantastic. NXT has a stacked roster, so why not NXT for 2 hours? NXT seems to be getting their groove back. I have no problem with them being 2 hours. I was just saying that I feel like the show's different. The show hits different for me than it did when it was 1 hour. That's all. Alex says, why is it AEW to Impact but not Impact to AEW? I think we're still in the beginning stages here. We're still in the beginning. I think there's a lot of stuff that's coming. I think. I don't even think we've scratched the surface of this crossover yet. Did you ever watch TNA like in the 2000s? No, I've never seen TNA before. I have watched some of their stuff on Twitch late at night when I'm working. I've just put it on and watched some matches that they have on their little network thing that they have there on Twitch, but that's about it. So not very much. Flash says, I think that was a shoot no sell from Aries, but I don't remember why he did it. Yeah, I think he got up, like spit on him and said like fuck you guys and left or something. Marcel says, Good Brothers from Impact invaded AEW. Yes, they did. I haven't watched an Impact show completely since it changed from TNA to Impact. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have probably done that as well. And I think that's what this whole thing is about. Interestingly enough as well, all of this was Kenny Omega's idea, not Tony Khan's. So, very interesting. Maybe Don Callis wasn't out of pocket when he said that if AEW didn't happen, that Kenny Omega would have went to Impact. Hell. Maybe he wasn't lying. Maybe he wasn't. I call them crazy. But this was Kenny Omega's idea to work with Impact, so very surprised to hear about that. Can't wait to see the Private Party versus the Good Brothers. Private Party came before the Street Profits, if I recall correctly. I don't think that's a fair comparison. They're completely different. Safa says, I've given Impact many chances. It's just not what it once was. I feel the same. I feel the same way. I'm gonna do it again for the content. For the content, since AEW is involved and since apparently anything can happen at any time. And this is what I tell you guys all the time. Creating that must-see TV moment, right? I always talk about that. I talk about that for Raw all the time. Look at what Impact has done right here. They've made somewhat must-see TV, right? I had no idea that Matt Hardy and Private Party were going to show up on Impact. I didn't know until I looked at my messages and I had like a bunch of messages from people telling me. So then I had to go turn it on. Now I'm at the point where I'm scared to miss good content. I'm scared to miss that crossover stuff. That's how you create must-see TV right there. It's that easy. It's that easy, man. It is that easy. I just wish that WWE would do the same thing and learn how to do it. So tons of people are going to be watching. I think that Impact usually has like 2,000 viewers, typically on Twitch. And when I was watching, they were at like 10,000. So Rocco says Impact just needs that star power and consistent booking. Like some shows will be amazing and be like an 8 out of 10, but some will be terrible. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the hokey stuff every now and then. It's not the worst thing, but if it's done too much, man, I don't know. I don't know. King G says, this is the first time I'm able to tune into your post show, and I have to say I need to tune in more often. Thanks, man. Yeah, I would love to have you here. Would love to have you here. I think these are a bunch of fun. I love doing them. It's so nice to just sit here, chat, and maybe someone else has an opinion or an idea about something that you haven't thought about yet, and it just makes things a little bit more interesting. Makes things just a little more interesting. Obi James says the whole innovation made Impact must watch. The invasion, I'm assuming, made Impact must watch for the sole reason that anything can happen. Yep, creating that moment of anything that can happen. That's why WWE Raw went live. That's the whole thing behind live. Anything can happen at any time. So you love to see it. Even though it's funny because Impact is taped. Impact's taped in advance. I would like to see Ken Shamrock versus Jake Hager. Well, hey, that's a possibility. That's a possibility now. Rated C says, what are your thoughts on WWE wanting to have 25,000 fans for WrestleMania? I don't think that's too crazy as long as they get a big arena, right? I don't know. I think like in Florida they could do whatever the hell they want for the most part. So we'll see. Having 25,000 fans in attendance for WrestleMania is going to be crazy. That's going to be crazy. I feel like if they do that, it's going to be hard to go back to watching their normal shows after experiencing that. Enigma says, I have a podcast here on YouTube as well and would love for you to be a guest on it sometime. Sure, man. Just send me a message on Instagram or Twitter. All is good. King G says, I have talked to you before, I think on Instagram. Yeah, probably. My DMs are always open. Always open. I live in Florida. You can do whatever you want. It's terrible. Yeah, I live in Oregon, dude. We can't do anything. We can't eat inside of a building. We can't you can't go to the gym. There's no gyms open here. You can get your hair cut, but you got to wear a mask everywhere. A lot of stores are just requiring one person to go in here. AEW, I hope you don't mind. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, man. It's all good. You can post the link. I'll check it out too. So yeah, we're very strict here. 25,000 isn't crazy for Raymond James, which holds like 80 or 90. Yeah, so they could still space out quite a bit. Man, it'd be frustrating sitting in the nosebleeds with all those open seats. That'd be crazy. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. I'm all like, I want to be about community here, right? Like, that's why I actually read my chat and hang out and talk. That's the whole point behind all of this for me, is community. Also, I'm going to be posting a schedule for some stuff, I think, like I was saying earlier, next week, because there's going to be a Royal Rumble predictions video. It's going to be my first video on YouTube here. So I'm going to make a Royal Rumble predictions video that will probably go live sometime on Saturday morning. And then everyone can have the time to watch it, digest it, think of their own. And then I think we're going to have a stream on Saturday. Saturday, probably sometime in the evening around 7-ish, like I usually do, where we'll have a Royal Rumble prediction stream where everyone can chat. And this is where I hope to have Discord set up, so you guys can join on the voice chat and talk to everyone. I hope to have it set up by then. And then, of course, for Sunday, the day of the Royal Rumble, we will have a Royal Rumble post show as well. So lots of content. In Ohio, we're just yeah, man, we're pretty much locked down here. It's crazy. I think if you did this on Tout, the old WWE social media network, Speaking of crossovers, I love doing crossovers with other podcasters. I've never done them before, so I'm interested. Miguel says, this is my favorite podcast, super intimate. That's what I like about it too. Like, Instagram is so chaotic, you know. Anyone and everyone can come in with their default avatar picture and they can just come in and talk trash. But to come here, you actually have to kind of put some effort into it and everything as well. So I like that as well. And, you know, if someone wants to come in and talk trash as well, they're just giving me watch hours. So you're welcome as well. Enigma says, I'll text you on Discord or Instagram about the crossover. Yeah, do Instagram, please. I would prefer. I forget that Discord exists. Shelva says, hey, it'll be a little late. Got done watching Dynamite. No worries, my friend. Hope you enjoyed the show. I got school tomorrow, so night, man. Thank you for tuning in, King G. I appreciate you. It was nice meeting you, chatting with you tonight. Hopefully, hope to see you for the other ones on SmackDown and Raw and all that other good stuff as well. Talk for glory. All right, I'll write it down. Man. There we go. I live in Indiana, and it's like very middle ground. We could do some, but not everything. At least independent wrestling events are open, and I can still wrestle. That's good to hear. Man. Yeah, it might be blocked on YouTube, actually. I'm not sure. But I wrote it down on my browser, so I'll make sure to check it out. And yeah, just reach out to me on whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I'll eventually find it. All right, so let's get on with this show here a little bit. Where are we at? So next up, we saw Sting and Darby Allin in the middle of the ring here. Sting has been used very interestingly. This whole thing is very, very, very slow. Very slow. People aren't quite sure what Sting is here to do. People aren't quite sure what Sting is going to do. He is on the active roster list, and he does have a win-loss record attached to him as well. So we can only assume that I guess it's pretty safe to say now that he's 100% wrestling. So this whole segment started off here with Sting congratulating Darby Allin on being the face of TNT and being the TNT champion, which was very cool. Very cool. This is the kind of stuff that I like to see, right? Sting, he's an icon. He's a Hall of Famer. Fantastic person, right? He's putting over the younger talent, Darby Allin. So very, very cool to see this. Of course, naturally, with everything that's going on, this was interrupted by Team Taz. And they were talking about the streets, and you don't want to see us on the streets, yada, yada, yada. So it seems like we're going to have some sort of tag match between Team Taz, I'm assuming Ricky Starks and Brian Cage, versus Darby and Sting. Marcel says a cinematic street fight, Darby, Sting versus Team Taz. Yes. I think that's going to be the case. Probably Ricky Starks and Brian Cage, since they've been the actual ones involved in this feud. How do I add people in chat? You put the @ and then you start typing their name. And then it should just fill in. Safa says, I got to go, AEW. See you on Friday for the post show. Bye. Thank you for tuning in, man. I appreciate it. I will see you on Friday. Ishmael says, I hate the slow burner storylines from AEW. I love WWE storylines because it's straight to the point. WWE have so much history backup that they don't need the slow burn. Yeah, but the slow burn really sets up everything, and it really makes it feel much more special. I can understand how people are kind of frustrated with seeing Sting come out for 25 seconds every show and not really do anything, but what's the counter? What's the alternative? Having Sting come in and beat up Darby in 2.5 minutes and be the TNT champion? I think this works perfectly fine. I think that, WWE wouldn't even let Sting wrestle, first of all. So they need to be careful. They need to be careful what they're doing. They need to make sure that they're protecting all of these people. Darby Allin needs to be protected. He needs to be a dominant TNT champion as well. So they need to figure this out. In a cinematic street match, I have no problem with. No problem with. Michael says not everything needs to be a slow burn though, which is also true. I think they may have dragged it out a little bit longer than they should have by a couple weeks, but I don't really mind because it doesn't take up too much time of the show. or anything, but I also feel like the slow burns pay off way more. Way more. So I think this is going to be good. Like, we still don't even know what the outcome is. Of course, we're going to have some sort of Darby and Sting team up against Team Taz, but what happens afterwards? Does Sting just want to manage Darby? Does he want to be his mentor? Are they going to become a tag team? Is Sting going to attack Darby? Is Darby going to attack Sting? Darby can attack Sting. He's like, look, I'm the up and comer. I'm the fresh one. I'm young. I can go. You're an old man. You can't go. I don't need your help. So there's lots of different ways that this can go. So I don't mind. I will agree that it could have been done a little bit quicker, but hopefully the next thing that happens is a match and not a couple more weeks of things. So we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. But I'm enjoying the crossover between Darby and Sting currently. I think it's amazing to see an old veteran in the ring with a young up-and-comer helping put them over. I can't complain about that. Cannot complain about that. The long-term storylines are way better, especially since AEW doesn't have them in tag matches every week like WWE would. Which is, yeah, that's something to talk about too, is that not everything needs to be a match. Things can continue week in and week out through storylines, through promos, through segments, through other things. Everything doesn't have to be a match. That's not what long-term storytelling is. Long-term storytelling is would not be Darby and Brian Cage fighting for 13 weeks. That's not a long-term story. That's just 13 weeks of fighting back and forth for no reason. There has to be a story involved. There has to be things to talk about. There has to be weeks off. There has to be things where things are different as well. So instead of just Darby and Brian Cage, now they're going to throw in Sting and Ricky Starks, which I'm assuming will end up leading to either Darby and Sting or Darby and Ricky Starks. I don't know. But they have tons of story that's building up. The history between, I saw, someone sent me this the other day. It was the history between Darby and Taz. Darby lost, he got like choked out or something, all right? Taz came up to Darby to try and help him out because he was a veteran. He wanted to mentor him. He wanted to help him and fix the problem. Darby said, I don't need you. And that's where all of this started. So this actually started like 9 months ago. Now, Darby Allin beat Brian Cage in the same fashion that Darby Allin lost, which was when Taz approached him in the first place. So there's storytelling going on there. There's things actually going on that maybe people wouldn't have caught. I certainly didn't catch it. I had to be told. So I was like, wow, that's actually really cool. That's actually very cool. So tons of stuff like that I like to see. Also, the Omega and Hangman stuff was done so well with them as a tag team. All of the stuff with that was just amazing. So I can only imagine how great it's going to be when they collide for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. That's going to be a good one. Jamel says, out of everyone in Team Taz, I'm pretty high on Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks is great, man. He's literally like an early Rock from back in the day. Like, that's just what he reminds me of the Rock back then, Rocky Maivia. I think Ricky Starks has a very bright future. There's a lot of very talented people in all of the wrestling companies right now, to be honest. And I think he's one of them. I think he has a very bright future ahead of him. Nowhere near as bad of a slow burn as Mysterio and Rollins. Yeah, that was terrible, man. So terrible. I hated that. Rocco says, when Hangman beats Omega, it's going to be worth it so much because it's like 1 year feud and it has you invested in them. Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't even know, right? Like, you're not seeing Hangman and Omega clash every single week on TV. They're not even interacting at all right now. But it's all brewing. It's all coming. Everything is going to come to that very moment, and it's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. Enigma says, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't see anything special about Brian Cage. Can anyone point out what the big deal is? He's a big man. Big man. He's talented. But I think that other people have different things that they look for. Like for me, I like tons of variations of wrestling. So you might find Shayna Baszler boring. I don't. I like that style of wrestling. Some people don't like the Young Bucks because all they do is jump off things and do flips and have like choreographed sequences and stuff. I like it. I don't mind it. Some people might not like big beatdowns, maybe like a Jon Moxley type thing where it's more hardcore. Like, I like that as well. So I think adding all those dynamics to the show gives it a whole different feel. Like, it would be super boring if every match was the same style and everyone fought in the same way. So I like the diversity of things like that. And I like that in AEW, they let their people do what they do the best. They don't try to change them. They don't send them to the Nightmare Factory to learn how to be a big, thick boy, a strong boy. They don't teach them how to do that. They just let them do what they do. So Brian Cage has done some very impressive things as well. His booking has certainly not been the best, but that's not his problem. Obi James says, did you know that Brian Cage can do a 619? Yes, I did. Miguel says, I'm big on Lucha Libre and British technical wrestling. Yeah, so see, there's tons of stuff that people are into. And if you actually just have a diverse set of matches on your show, I think it benefits everyone. Marcel says, like the WWE style, it's the same shit every match. Yeah. I agree. It's just 4 or 5 minute cookie cutter, distraction finish, roll up. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Jake Holden says, bad episode of AEW for their standards. Yeah, I would agree. They are they're much better than this. Flash says, Detective AEW, I've got to drop it here tomorrow. The work is going to be hard. Thank you for the show. See you on Friday. Thanks, man. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I will see you on Friday. Yeah, I think Jake, like I was saying earlier, I think that they knew or they assumed that news stations are going to dominate everything tonight. So I think they just kind of went in with just a moderate show. They didn't do anything crazy, nothing really impressive. There were quite a few things that advanced storylines, but other than that, it wasn't that impressive. They did set up a couple things though in the future that I like, that I think are going to benefit them and be very interesting to watch though. I would have rather Santana and Ortiz win. Me too for sure. But I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to it, but I think that there's a reason why. And I think we'll have to wait to see it play out. So anyways, next up we had Alex Marvez caught wind of a super secret elite meeting at Kenny Omega's house. So the Young Bucks showed up and Alex Marvez was out there randomly. And one of the things that I liked about this was that the Bucks addressed him for being there. They thought it was weird that he was there. They thought it was weird that a camera was there, and they kind of addressed it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Michael Nakazawa was the one that opened the door. He was head to toe in full AEW gear with a laptop and guided them to a sort of family room of some sorts to wait for Kenny. This is where they saw that amazing picture of of Kenny Omega and Don Callis just shredded. Just shredded. The funny thing about this is that they actually had to commission someone to make this ridiculous oil painted picture of Kenny Omega shredded and Don Callis shredded as well, leaning on top of him. Ridiculous. That was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So what ended up happening is Don Callis came in, said that Kenny Omega could not make the meeting tonight, which was also kind of funny because they were at Kenny Omega's house and Kenny Omega wasn't able to make it. Don Callis ended up trying to pay off the Young Bucks here, but they said they make more money in a week from merch, and they ended up giving him a shiner. They ended up beating him up, and the camera cut to black. And then, oh God, this picture, man. Next up, we had Peter Avalon taking on Cody Rhodes in a match. I really wasn't expecting this match to last nearly as long as it did. I think that in the commentary team was saying that Cody said that he would beat him in under a minute, I believe, if I remember. Raphael says, I'm kind of surprised that the Bullet Club is already having dissension, but I'm fine with it. I'm finding it really enjoyable. Yeah, I'm curious to see where they go with it. There's so many different routes that they could take. And I mean, I guess it kind of fits because they all turn on each other eventually as well. Gar says, I truthfully wish Young Bucks would just fully turn heel already. I'm kind of tired of them playing around the back and forth with them and Omega. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The thing with this whole Bullet Club, Elite, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. I'm just gonna call it Bullet Club for the sake of it, but I don't know. I feel like this is all a work. If I'm being honest, I feel like this is all a work, and I feel like New Japan is involved, and I feel like we're going to see New Japan Bullet Club show up, and I think there's going to be a feud there. I think that's gonna happen. I think it's already been worked out as well. It has to have been. They teased New Japan so much in this show tonight in various different ways here that I will also talk about when we get to those moments as well. But I think it's happening. I really do. I really think that it's happening. Jay Wolf says this match was god awful, the worst on the show. Alex Silver says I hate Cody's new theme. Me too, man. Me too. I can't stand the Snoop Dogg remix of Cody Rhodes' theme. It is terrible. I hope that it's not a new thing that stays permanently. I don't know how long the Go Big show is on, but hopefully it's not on for too long because I don't want to hear this crap. It's terrible compared to Kingdom. Kingdom and its normal format is incredible. Like I say it all the time, Kingdom is one of my all-time favorite entrance themes, and it's just a really good song as well. So I don't know. Ishmael says I wish Sting would feud with Cody. I think that'll probably happen eventually. Probably after all this Darby stuff. Cody doesn't really have anything going on right now. He's not really doing anything. I mean, with this whole Shaq stuff, like, who knows? Anyways, what ended up happening here was Jade Cargill, I believe is her name, if I pronounce that correctly. Yeah, Cargill, came out and tried to distract Cody Rhodes. The one thing that I loved about this, the small detail here, was that music started playing, he looked back, and then he went back towards Peter Avalon. Like, he was actually like, you could see that he was kind of torn, more like an actual distraction rather than just the WWE format where they hear music, they just turn around and play dumb, and they just completely forget that they're in a match. So I do like that he was paying attention to Peter Avalon on the ground. He was still trying to make sure that he was aware of what was going on in the match. He did eventually lose all ability to remain focused on Peter Avalon, so he did end up getting distracted, and Peter Avalon hit him with a low blow, but it still wasn't enough. So it wasn't a roll-up finish. It wasn't anything after that. They still wanted to have a match, and Cody Rhodes ended up beating Peter Avalon, which I don't think anyone is surprised to see. So I do like that they did that a little bit different. It was very nice to see. I cannot stand the distractions, and I cannot stand the roll-ups, especially the distraction roll-ups either. So when I saw her coming out, I was like, God damn it. Why is this happening on Dynamite? But thankfully it didn't. Jamel says, I believe it will lead to the Young Bucks losing to Hangman for help. Oh, looking to Hangman for help. It very well could be. That would lead to a 3-versus-3. And I believe we talked about that earlier on. And I think one of the things that could happen too, depending on all of this New Japan stuff, is that we could see a Elite Bullet Club versus Bullet Club in a Blood and Guts match. That would be crazy. We could see some sort of Bullet Club, Elite Bullet Club versus some sort of Team John Moxley in a Blood and Guts. We could see some sort of Elite or Team AEW versus a Team Impact in Blood and Guts. So I hope they bring back Blood and Guts. I hope that happens, because I think there's so many cool things that they could do with what's going on right now. Gar says, I definitely think it's a work after Mox name dropped Bullet Club. Yep. And they hinted at Japan a lot and other things tonight. Big Chicken says, wrestling has more than one royal family. Yes, they do. And England says, Tama Tonga on AEW would be perfect. Him making sure that the Bullet Club name stays in New Japan. It would be so good, man. The Gorillas of Destiny taking on the Young Bucks, I think, would be fantastic. It'd be a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. OB James says, Snoop Dogg in 2 wrestlers' themes in 2 different companies. This guy is legit everywhere. Yeah, and he did the splash on on Dynamite too, like 2 weeks ago. Raphael says, what about Omega, Good Brothers, and Bucks versus Mox, Darby, Pac, Phoenix, and Penta? There you go. There you go. The thing that I love about this invasion and this, even just the Impact one, even if you don't include New Japan, is there's just so many different angles that we can see. It just makes it so exciting because you don't actually know what's coming. We can have our ideas, but nothing's really set in stone. Like, I think it's pretty safe to say that we all know that Hangman Adam Page is going to be the next AEW World Champion, but this other stuff does not seem so predictable to me. There's so many different ways that they could go about this, and I really think that New Japan is involved. I really do. I think if the deal hasn't been sealed, they're still working on it. I believe it. And it doesn't make any sense either why those doors wouldn't be open, because Chris Jericho works for New Japan. He's worked for them a couple of times. Jon Moxley is still the IWGP United States champion. So, and it drives me nuts every time. I'll talk about this actually when we get to Jon Moxley, which is just right here. So I'll refrain from that. Rocco says, I hate this Cody storyline so much, and I feel like this will go until Brandy is able to wrestle. I hope not, because she's like early pregnant. It's going to be a while. Jay Wolf says, I'm confused though, because isn't the Bucks and Good Brothers supposed to team next week, but today they were like against Omega? I'm confused. So the Bucks, I think kind of like what is brewing here as well is that you see the tension going on between the Bucks and Don Callis more than anything. And I guess maybe you could have them feel the tension between the Good Brothers as well, but Don Callis is the invisible hand, and I think that they're starting to understand that he's the one pulling the strings. So I think that has an interesting factor into it as well. I'm not sure what will happen or what could happen from that, but I think that's a factor in it as well. Jamel says, what I love about AEW is how they have so many directions they can go creatively. Yeah, it's crazy right now. It's crazy. Does anyone remember when Cody wanted to face MJF again? Oh, I'm glad that didn't happen. Mox versus Callahan has to happen. Or Mox and Callahan teaming up as well. That could happen. Big Chicken says, I think Kenta will attack Moxley at Beach Break. I hope so, man. I hope so. Enigma says he's still champ until Kenta puts him to sleep. Yeah, I think that's got to be what happens. There's no way they'll let Moxley retain. I don't feel like. Anyways, after this whole segment here, we saw a backstage promo with FTR sitting there with Tully, and Jurassic Express came into the room, and we ended up seeing a match get made for next week on Dynamite, which is Jungle Boy versus Dax Harwood. So that'll be an interesting one to see as well. I wonder if Dax is going to be putting over Jungle Boy. Very interesting. Also, something very funny that I saw on Twitter is that Jungle Boy, Tully, Cash, and Dax are all they all say that they are 5 foot 10 inches, but every single person in this picture is a different height. So I thought that was pretty funny. Next up, we saw the Dynamite debut of Nick Camarado. This man's was jacked. This was a big boy here. I'm not sure if he's a new signee or if he's just working with them temporarily, but he looks great. And of course, he was taking on Jon Moxley here. Man, I was Birdman rubbing my hands during this whole thing. I'm like, oh yeah, it's all fun and games, Jon Moxley. It's all fun and games until this match is over, and then Kenta comes up and whoops that ass, you know? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. I love Jungle Boy, but I wish Marco Stunt would just quit. This was probably the match of the night. Yeah, I would agree that this was probably the match of the night for me, which I find interesting as well, because even in these enhancement matches, AEW lets their people actually wrestle. So it was nice to see that. The guy looked pretty impressive. And of course, he got choked out at the end of the match by Jon Moxley. So no complaints about that there. After this, Moxley grabbed a mic and he was briefly talking about being attacked by the Bullet Club, if you want to call them that, the Elite Bullet Club, including the Good Brothers from Impact. He said he doesn't care where you come from. You can bring your friends from Nashville or Japan. Hint number one right there. Then he just straight up name dropped Bullet Club as well. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. He said he's happy. The more people that are involved, the more bones he can break, the more limbs he can snap, and yada, yada, yada. So I like this. I think, man, Jon Moxley is just incredible too, by the way. I gotta say that. Jon Moxley has performed so well in AEW this whole time, from his debut to being AEW World Heavyweight Champion, and even to managing losing his championship and being where he's at now. I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic. Obi James says, I was waiting for ICU when Moxley was doing his promo. Yeah, man, I thought it was going to happen. I was very disappointed. When he said Japan, I was like, yep, here we go. When he said Bullet Club, I was like, oh, guess who's a part of Bullet Club? Kenta is a part of Bullet Club. Oh, here we go. It's going to be amazing. No. So I'm going to feel that way every single time I see Jon Moxley on my TV, I think, until it happens. I think it's inevitable. I think it is 100% happening. And I still think that, well, no, that wouldn't make sense anymore. But anyways, I'm really hoping for this to happen. I think it should play out on AEW TV. I think it will be great. Kenta's been waiting forever to cash in that briefcase and fight him for the championship. Raphael says, Moxley became my favorite wrestler in all of wrestling. He's by far booked the best, looks super legit, and has one of the best promos. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing of letting people be themselves, man. He kills it. Absolutely kills it. His matches are fantastic. The outcomes are typically pretty great, aside from the whole controversy behind the whole Brian Cage one, but, you know, it is what it is. But everything's been so great. I love seeing it. It's so much better just to allow these people to be themselves. I had zero interest in Dean Ambrose in his return, his final return to WWE. It was so stale. It was so boring. I had zero interest in any of it. But literally every single thing this guy has done in AEW has been interesting. It's been worth watching. It's been fantastic. So shout out to him for that. J Wolf says, not usually a fan of most of Mox's matches, but he's definitely the best promo. I like it, man. His matches that he had with Kenny Omega, his debut, I was there at Double or Nothing for the debut. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible. That crazy unsanctioned match he had with Kenny Omega was insane. He's had lots and lots of really good matches with people as well. Big Chicken says, Dean Ambrose predicted COVID with his face mask he was wearing. Yes, right? He was just ahead of his time, man. He was just too far ahead of his time. After this match, though, we saw our first sight of Kenny Omega for tonight. He showed up in some crazy purple shirt here, some dress pants, and some crazy boots as well. He ended up going into the locker room to chat with Don Callis, who had some sunglasses on, and revealed he got a big old shiner. Literally, like the whole right side cheek area and temple of his face is bruised. So we're led to believe that the Young Bucks actually did beat him down pretty well. And he was not very happy about it. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays into it as well. We did not see the Bucks and Omega encounter each other for the rest of the show, unfortunately. So looks like we'll have to wait for that next week, or maybe they'll play it out on BTE. I'm not sure. Enigma says, before Naito, Moxley was the first ever double champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Crazy. Very crazy. Let's see here. Next up, we had another 6-man match that saw Matt Hardy and Private Party taking on Matt Sydal and Top Flight. Man, Top Flight is incredible. These kids, they're like legit kids. One of them is 18. The other one is 21. They're so good. They are so good. Also, if you're tuning in and you did not watch Impact on Tuesday, Matt Hardy and Private Party showed up on Impact, and they actually got inserted into the Impact World Tag Team Championship scene in the main event of Impact last night, Private Party took on Chris Sabin and James Storm, and they actually became the number one contenders to the Good Brothers Impact Tag Team Championships. So very interesting to see. Very interesting to see. I love the crossover playing off here. And like I was saying earlier, this is the way that you create must-see TV for Impact. I'm tuning into Impact weekly now. I'm going to be covering Impact weekly now. It worked. Jay Wolf says, I am loving Private Party right now, especially Mark Quinn. Yeah, dude, Private Party is so good. They are so good. These guys are so talented. I'm glad that they've kind of found something different for them to do. For them to kind of appear on Impact and have a little bit of stuff there. It'll be interesting to see how that goes though with the Good Brothers, since they are being crossovers as well, and they don't really have anything going on there. I don't know if that show's going to happen at Rebellion or not, because that's in April, so that's pretty far away. We'll see though. We will see. After this match, I mean, of course, Hardy Party got the win in this match here, but it was very cool because Mark Quinn actually attacked one of them with a steel chair, which is what led them to actually get the win. So that was great to see as well. They're finally taking the advice of Matt Hardy, and they have turned completely heel tonight. Even after the match and they got the victory, they were beating up Top Flight and Matt Sydal afterwards as well. So I love this. I'm very happy with Hardy Party. I'm very happy to see that they're heels now. I'm very invested to see where this is going. And I mean, especially not only this, but with the Impact Tag Team Championships as well, like I was mentioning. Very interesting thing there. Enigma says, IWGP United States and AEW World Champion. I don't get why Tony doesn't want to acknowledge Moxley's success outside of AEW. Let him come out with the US Championship. It's very possible that New Japan doesn't want that. Kenny doesn't come out with the AAA Championship. They don't even really mention it anymore, even though he's defended it on the show as well, I believe. So I don't know. I don't know why they do that. They don't do that. I wish they would do that. But maybe it's because the casual fan wouldn't understand that that's not an AEW title, and that, you know, they probably like, why isn't he defending this? And why is he carrying this around? That's probably my guess. Probably my guess. It Wolf says, I think that the Young Bucks might screw over the Good Brothers to have Private Party get the belts and start a Bucks and Good Brothers feud. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I have no idea where this Elite Bullet Club stuff is going. It could go anywhere, and I think that's what makes it really exciting. I really do. I think that just having so many different outcomes is fantastic. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out next week. You know, like I was just saying, the Young Bucks beat up Don Callis, so Kenny's probably not going to be very happy about that. Raphael says, it makes sense for Mox to not he's holding the US title because it's not their company, so what's the point if he's not going to defend it? And yeah, lots of people would just ask why he isn't defending it. Yep, pretty much. Warrior says, it's not Tony's call to let Mox bring out the US belt. New Japan has to give permission. Yeah, and you would like we were saying, you would just have to worry about the confusion. I personally, I don't like the FTW title. I think it serves absolutely no purpose for anything on the show. I don't know why it's there. I don't like it at all. So I don't know. I think having people carry around all these championships might get a little confusing for the casual, if there are really Dynamite casuals. I'm not sure I've encountered one of those yet, at least not to my knowledge. Next up, we saw a match between Penelope Ford and Layla Hirsch. I didn't pay too much attention to this match, to be honest. I was replying to comments and chatting with people and watching whatever was going on in NXT as well. This match was supposed to be originally Nyla Rose taking on Layla Hirsch, but she's in quarantine, I believe, because she either came in contact with someone or she had COVID or something like that. So this one got changed to Penelope Ford here. From what I saw, like, the match looked okay. Pretty standard AEW women's match here, but Layla Hirsch she stood out pretty well. I saw a lot of impressive stuff from her. Hopefully they use her a little bit more. I like what I've seen of Layla Hirsch. And I mean, we talk about this every week. You know, AEW women's division is trash. it doesn't really seem to be getting that much better, despite them having tons of people on the roster that could actually fill the slots. Why is Diamante and Evil East sitting in the crowd every week when they could be wrestling these people? Where's Hikaru Shida? She's never on the show. Where are all these other people? And I mean, I don't want to start watching Dark. I feel like I'm probably going to have to start watching Dark at some point, but maybe that's where all of these people are. But I really just feel like where's Big Swole? Why isn't Big Swole there? Thunder Rosa, I believe, is in quarantine right now. Where's Britt Baker? Like, where are all of these people? Where's Serena Deeb? Where's why isn't Anna Jay wrestling? Why isn't Tay Conti wrestling? It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. Ishmael says Brian Cage has yet to defend his title. It should have been Cody versus Brian Cage for the title as the storyline. Well, I mean, I don't think the titles, it's not acknowledged by AEW, and I don't think it's really meant to be defended. That's why I don't really understand its purpose. J Wolf says AEW casuals don't exist. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised either way, to be honest. Raphael says, yeah, I thought the FTW title was a prop, but I'm pretty sure Cage defended it once on Dynamite, so it's confusing. I believe he did defend it once when it first happened. But yeah, other than that, I don't think they have. Rocco says you should do a mock booking for AEW. I don't know if I'd be into that. I'm not sure. Predictions and stuff I don't mind, but mock booking, I'm not quite sure. Gar says, I hope the women's tournament turns things around. I hope that's a turning point too. I really do. I say this every single time we talk about it. The people are there. The talent is there. So why they're not pulling the trigger, I don't understand. Hopefully the tournament is a workaround. Hopefully, I'm not sure. I guess we haven't really talked about the tournament yet, but in the tournament picture, there's an American flag on the left side and a Japanese flag on the right side for this tournament. So is this going to be some sort of like America versus Japan thing? Is this going to be like, are they going to have the Joshi people return? Like, is Riho going to return for this? All the other people that I can't think of, Emi Sakura or whatever, are they all going to be in this? Is that what this is for? Is this maybe for a Stardom crossover for New Japan? I don't know. Lots of interesting things that could come of this, though. And this was another thing that I wanted to point out about the New Japan relationship is having a Japan flag on this tournament eliminator thing. So I don't know. Very, very interesting. I'm so confused. They have good matches in AEW Dark, but I want to see new talents winning. Yeah. When are they going to do Fuego versus QT? I just don't like squash matches on Dark. I'm not sure. Is that a feud that's going on? Rocco says 90% of the women's matches on AEW are just squash matches with a superstar who is signed versus a dark star. Yeah, pretty much for the most part. I mean, not always, but I don't know. I hope they don't just put it on YouTube. No, this is going to be on Dynamite. This tournament is going to be on Dynamite. I believe that is what they said on TV. This will not be on YouTube. Against Will Hobbs on Dynamite, yeah, for the FTW. And Rocco says he defended it against Brian Pillman on Dark as well. Yeah, I didn't watch ECW back then, or very much, to be honest, so I'm not really familiar with the FTW Championship and how it was presented back in the day. But for me right now, I just don't really like it, you know. Enigma says, imagine after a long match from Mox, all we hear is Kenta's theme song, and he just slams the briefcase in front of Mox and says, give me my match. I'm down for that, man. I am down for that. Thank God it'll be on Dynamite. Hopefully they give us a few matches a week. Yeah, it's a pretty decent one too. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That'll be 15 matches total. 15 matches total. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how they do that actually on Dynamite. Is this going to take 15 weeks to do? Good Lord. Hopefully it ends at, or I guess maybe it won't end, but maybe it'll end a week or so before Revolution so that they can have the the championship match there, I'd be totally down for that. The match we all need to see, the ultimate crossover, Orange Cassidy versus Minoru Suzuki. There you go. That'd be an interesting one to see. Next up, we saw Kenny Omega and Don Callis once again, but this time he was with his good brothers, and they were beating up Pentagon. Penta L0M, whatever they call him. I feel like they change his name every week here. Penta, I'm going to call him Penta. So they were beating up Penta. They were choking him out. Kenny Omega took off his crazy little boots and started beating him with them as well. I think this was just taking him out so that they could make that 6-man tag for Beach Bash and fit in Jon Moxley to the mix. Because with Penta around, it would have just essentially been Death Triangle. So I think they just needed a way to weasel in Jon Moxley into that feud for that. Jay Wolf says the FTW championship was introduced when I think Sabu, who was the ECW champion at the time, could not wrestle. So Taz introduced his own belt because he is the rightful ECW champ. I don't exactly remember, but I think that's pretty close. Fair enough. Fair enough. Rocco says, Dark isn't terrible. I only watch because Taz is the best commentary, but if you watch wrestling for quality matches, then it's a good watch. But other than that, it's nothing special. Yeah, man, I love hearing all of the Botchamania stuff from Taz and Excalibur. I heard that on this week's, when Peter Avalon came out, he was talking about playing the skin flute, and they either just didn't notice or what, but they ended up removing it and putting it back on as well. So that was funny. I love seeing that stuff. I think Taz and Excalibur are fantastic together, and it's nice to see the commentary team have fun as well. So I like that aspect. Arturo says, bro, just got home. Vibes from Peru. What highlights should I watch first? It wasn't the greatest episode in the world, man. Some interesting stuff did happen, though. If I would recommend probably just going to AEW's Twitter and seeing all the important stuff. They probably posted clips of, a couple minute clips of those. Obi James says, we can see Orange Cassidy versus the Swingman. Loa says, is Beach Bash going to be on Dynamite? Yes, so Beach Bash is just going to be a themed episode of Dynamite. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that is in 2 weeks. So after this beatdown, we saw a graphic saying that Cody responds to Shaq. Why this has taken 5 weeks to get to, I have absolutely no idea. Where this goes, I'm even more confused. I don't know. Like, is Shaq gonna wrestle? What could this possibly lead to? What is Shaq doing? Is this just a ratings grab? I've heard a lot of people say that TNT just wants Shaq on there. I don't know. I have no clue what to make of this. I guess we'll see next week. I mean, his last appearance was not the worst thing in the world. I mean, it was just a little video segment, just a promo, and Brandy threw water on him. So I really don't know what to expect from this. I would assume that AEW would be smart enough to know that most of their fan base is not really checking for something like this. They didn't move forward with the Mike Tyson thing. And I'm not sure if that was just because they didn't talk about it before and the deal wasn't worked out, or if they were listening to people and they realized that their fans probably didn't want to watch a wrestling match between Chris Jericho and Mike Tyson. So I don't know. I always give AEW the benefit of the doubt currently because they haven't really screwed us over and they listen to us for the most part. So I do have faith in them, but just seeing it, it's like, what is going on? Why is this a thing? I don't understand. Raphael says, I think I'm the only person on the planet that wants this match. I mean, I just don't see how it could be good. You know, like, obviously Shaq isn't going to be able to perform in the ring. So I don't know. I'm always open to being proved wrong. I don't think that there's a very high percentage chance that Shaq could prove me wrong about such a thing. But You know, what's his name did? Why can't I think of his name? That was just on NXT that fought Adam Cole. Why can't I think of his name? Whatever. You know what I'm talking about though. I didn't really want to see him versus Adam Cole, and that match turned out to be fantastic. Pat McAfee, thank you so much, Gar. Pat McAfee. Jay Wolf, thank you. Yeah, I didn't want to see that match. I talked shit about that match ever since they started making it, but man, he proved me wrong. Pat McAfee did a fantastic job. He killed it out there, but I don't think that, I mean, we're talking about Shaq, right? Shaq's much older. Shaq is also a very large man as well, so I don't know. Obi James says, I have a feeling that they didn't do Mike Tyson because he had to train for his fight. That's very possible. Yeah, McAfee's half of Shaq's age, yeah. And probably half of his size too. Shaq's huge. So that's why I'm kind of confused. I don't understand where this is going. I don't think that they're going to make Shaq go in the ring. I don't think so. Rocco says, I think we are getting a mixed tag match with Shaq and Jade versus Cody and Brandy, but I heard TNT wants Shaq on the show for ratings and stuff like that. If this is just a ratings grab, I have no problem with it. If Shaq wants to be on my TV once every 5 weeks to have a promo, cool, bro, go for it. I don't really care. That's fine. Raphael says, wait, is McAfee done with NXT or is he just taking a break? I believe NXT is done with Pat McAfee, from what I understand, or WWE more so is done with Pat McAfee currently. I think he found out when everyone else found out that they didn't have any plans to work with him for the rest of the year, something like that. Shaq guest referee for a Cody match. Yeah, I guess that'd work. Jade Cargill versus Cody. That'd be interesting. I wonder if they would do something like that. Probably not, but would be very interesting if they did. Ugh. All right, next up we had our main event match. Actually, before we get into that, I will talk about the match that was made during this main event. We already kind of briefly talked about it. So in 2 weeks at Beach Break, we will be seeing AEW World Champion Kenny Omega teaming up with the Impact Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers, to take on Jon Moxley, Pac, and Rey Fenix in a 6-man tag team match. This is going to be one crazy match here. This is going to be a big one to watch in 2 weeks. And I wouldn't be surprised if something big happened at Beach Break. I could definitely see that happening. I like that AEW has their normal shows, the gimmick shows that are special, and then their pay-per-views, because they can always make these gimmick shows happen, and they can always they can elevate them, make them feel a little bit more special than a normal episode of Dynamite to get some more people tuning in. And then they can have bigger matches and have bigger debuts or outcomes or stuff like that. Arturo says, what time is it in your location here? It is 24:02. It is 9:03 p.m. for me. 9:03 p.m. I am on the west coast of the United States. But yes, like Shelvis just said, this match is going to be crazy. It'll be very interesting to watch. Can't wait to see it. Alex Silver says Goldberg. Rocco says, not gonna lie, Jericho looks terrible in the ring. Yeah, so I didn't pay too much attention to this main event here. I was a little bit busy trying to get this this schedule, and we were cleaning up from eating dinner here. 7 o'clock creeped the hell up on me very fast. So I didn't watch too much of this match. I was personally rooting for Santana and Ortiz to win this one, but like I said, I was scrambling to get all of this stuff done. What ended up happening was MJF and Chris Jericho ended up winning, and they were pretty much at TV time, so it cut off really, really quickly. Shelvis says Jericho was terrible tonight. Rocco also says Jericho looked terrible tonight. I've seen that from quite a few people when I was getting things posted. Heard that Jericho didn't really perform that well tonight, so will be interesting to see, man. Maybe it's time for Jericho to take a break here, take a rest. I mean, these people that he's up in the ring against are some pretty youthful guys, you know, aside from Jake Hager, who's pretty big. MJF can move. Santana and Ortiz can move as well. Sammy Guevara can move. So we'll see. I think that this whole thing here is just to cause some more troubles here with the Inner Circle. Of course, Jericho and MJF, they assume that the Inner Circle is going to be fine after this match. But I certainly don't think that that is going to be true. And I think that Pride and Powerful could very well be the first to split away from the group as well. A lot of people thought it would be Sammy, but maybe it's going to be Santana and Ortiz. Maybe this is going to push them over the edge, and they're going to be done. Maybe they're going to be done. Maybe they will go on to do something else. Jay Wolf says Jericho landed on his head when he did a lion salt. Interesting. I did not see that. So yeah, I think that's what all of this is for. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Like I said a million times, Santana and Ortiz should have won this match. And I can see Santana and Ortiz and Sammy really benefited from being in the Inner Circle. They've been elevated quite a bit as well. So them splitting off and being baby faces, or even them just splitting off and feuding, would still be really good. Sammy, Ortiz, and Santana versus Chris Jericho, Jake Hager and MJF, or remove Hager and put Wardlow in there. I think that would be good as well. So maybe that's what's going to happen here. I think Sammy would be a fantastic face. I think Sammy has a very bright future ahead of him as well. So maybe it's finally time to split up the Inner Circle. You know, I had originally thought that maybe MJF would be kicking out Chris Jericho and take control over the group, but maybe they are just going to crumble and start splitting apart. Sammy is such a great babyface. Yeah, I agree. I think Sammy is very talented. Enigma says that Les Sex Gods was my favorite tag team in the Inner Circle. I still want Wardlow and Jake Hager as a tag team. I would love to see Wardlow and Jake Hager be the Inner Circle tag team. Aside from Santana and Ortiz, I feel like you can have more than one. And I think having those big guys would be a cool dynamic in AEW's tag division, because mostly they're all kind of the same style with the flips and the stuff like that. So I think it'd be cool to insert them in there. I think it'd be fun. But apparently that's not going to happen. Raphael says, I could kind of see Pride and Powerful saying that they'll leave, but MJF will relinquish the win to them to help calm things down and win everyone over so he can betray them in the end. That could very well happen as well. We've talked about this with the whole Elite Bullet Club stuff, but this is the Inner Circle feud. Internal feud is kind of fits the same bill, that anything could happen here. There's so many different outcomes to this feud here, and will it go much longer? Will there be more members? Will one member split? Will the group split into two and feud with each other? Will someone take over as a leader? MJF taking Chris Jericho out maybe to help put him over. So there's tons of different things that we could do with this. So that's why I like this Inner Circle feud as well. But man, I really would have liked to see Santana and Ortiz pick up this win here. But like I was saying earlier in the show too, it might be a nice way to keep Santana and Ortiz busy while the title picture is crowded. So they certainly need something to do, and this could very well be that thing that they need. Rocco says, I think it's going to lead to MJF taking over the Inner Circle and then turning on Jericho and giving Jericho a last face run and likely get retired by MJF. I could see it. I could certainly see it happening. Gar says, War Hager would be so dope. I'd love them splitting off the Inner Circle and MJF and Jericho, to be honest. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they don't use Wardlow very much, because the guy is super talented. He's performed so well in the matches that he's had. In the steel cage, he was in the first steel cage match with Cody, and then the match that he had the other week as well was with Jake Hager was really good. I think, I mean, I've said this a lot tonight, to be honest, but Wardlow, man, Wardlow is one to watch. That guy for sure has a bright future. Very, very sure that guy has a bright future. I'm very excited for Wardlow and what's to come from him. And I'm still just kind of shocked. I'm shocked that they don't use him very much for how good he is. He's just MJF's just manager, side piece person, to take control over things. So I don't know, lots of different fun ways for this whole Inner Circle thing to play out. Overall, just an okay episode of Dynamite. Wasn't it didn't really hold up to their standards overall. So yeah, that's going to do it for the show tonight. That is going to wrap up our chat about AEW Dynamite. Before we go, let me just remind you here that I will be tuning into Impact probably starting now going forward, and I'll probably try to do the Impact post shows as well. We'll see what the turnout is for and see how they turn out. If there's enough content, they might not be as long, but we'll see. Maybe I might make the decision to watch Impact for a couple weeks first and do post shows, so I actually know what I'm talking about and have something to discuss other than just going in blank. But who knows? Maybe we'll just shoot blank, and I guess it'll be more interactive. I guess, I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you guys know though. I'm going to start posting at the beginning of the week. I'm going to be posting schedules for the week as well, so that everyone knows what I'm up to and what to expect and what is going on. That will come next Monday. Rocco says it's crazy the stars AEW has that are upcoming, like Darby, Sammy, Jungle Boy, MJF, Wardlow, Private Party, Top Flight, and Hangman. And that's just to name a few, man. John Silver and Alex Riley are really good as well. There's tons of people, man. The Acclaimed is very talented as well. I like them a lot. Just trying to look through here. Will Hobbs, Ricky Starks has a lot in him. I think Alan Angels 5 from the Dark Order has a lot in him. TH2 is very good as well. So yeah, man, there's tons of them. Tons and tons and tons of them. Raphael says with the Bucks plus Good Brothers teaming with Kingston and versus Archer next week is going to be a good one. Yeah, hopefully they've geared up the next episode to kind of take control over things, because like I was saying at the beginning of the show, I think they're suffered from the news tonight, and I think they'll probably have pretty low ratings. The ratings will be out on Friday as well, by the way. They will not be out tomorrow. I said Alex Riley, did I? Oh, sorry. Alex Reynolds. Yeah, Alex Reynolds and John Silver are very talented. They're a very good tag team, in my opinion. Oh god, the chemistry, words, Jesus Christ. The chemistry between them is great. Enigma says Le Sex God could have just been Jericho being Sammy's manager, similar to Darby and Sting. It could. It'll be interesting to see what Jericho's future in the company holds. If he is actually getting to that point where he can't perform as well anymore. Maybe he just needs to practice more as well. Maybe this whole pandemic is taking a toll on them. Maybe they're just not training as much as they should be. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see going forward what happens. Will be very, very interesting. Anyways, that is going to do it for me tonight. Have a good night, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Before I go, if you're here and you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, please make sure to hit the like button as well. If you're into gaming, let me get this here. Let me get this. If you're into gaming, I will be reviving my gaming stuff here very, very, very soon. I got Wrestling Empire downloaded last night, and I got my character made and ready to go for the Wrestling Empire story mode. I'm going to be finishing up Fire Pro Wrestling World as well, and then we'll be playing other games like Breath of the Wild, so that'll be pretty fun as well. A schedule for that will come out eventually. Enigma says Jericho had a good run for me. At this point, he should commentary. I wouldn't be mad at him in commentary and creative at all. I think that'd be great. I think that would be a good role for him for sure. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in so much. I will see you all on Friday for the SmackDown post show. Hope you all have a good rest of your night. Thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you on Friday. Peace.